You gonna play? No.
And then?
And then?
Okay, Sparky.
Nice. All right. So for years we framed houses with traditional lumber, right? You just get southern yellow pine 2x4s or northwestern spruce pine fir number 2.
Because some 2x4s and some 2x6s and off you go.
There you go. But every year there's an increase in lumber's really starting to get really damn expensive.
Right. Lumber costs are creeping up.
I mean, it's kind of crazy where 2x4s per 1,000 board feet are nearly $600 per 1,000 now.
Yeah. Well, it's what, $5-6 a piece?
2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago it was $275 per 1,000. So the increase in lumber costs is absolutely ridiculous.
Dramatic.
So it's dramatic, is right. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Everybody, it depends. And it was funny, like Robbie was saying at the break about depends on which channel you're watching.
Yeah.
How they spin it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and again, we don't like being political, but if you want to blame tariffs, that's part of it. But the forest fires in Canada had a lot to do with it.
Yep.
Then we have a truckers shortage.
Right.
That has a lot to do with it. You have to pay truckers. Nobody wants to haul lumber. It's the lowest paying truck driving job there is.
Really? The loggers?
To get from A to B. No, to the lumber, like the banded up lumber on a truck.
Okay.
Pays the least amount.
Huh.
Nuclear waste pays the best.
Oh, got it.
But so yeah, it's like $200 to drive cross country. Would you want to do it?
Yeah.
Hell no. So there's a lot of reasons why it's gotten expensive. And then you put in some natural disasters where demand goes up.
Right.
And then the rebuilding, which creates the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of reasons. But anyway, so lumber itself is way up. But traditional, so engineered lumber is becoming more and more accepted and needed. So in 2016, North American I-joist production. Now, I-joist, most people may not know what that is. It looks like a piece of plywood with a 2x4 or 2x3 on the top and the bottom.
Right.
So it's an I-joist. But anyway, they did 730 million linear feet of I-joist, which was a 6% increase over 2015. And it's supposed to have been somewhere around 16 billion board feet in 2017.
Wow.
So, this production of engineered lumber is going up and up. And most of us think of only going to a box store and buying a 2x4,
right,
2x6, or 2x8. But the engineered lumber has a lot of benefits. So, most lumber yards, the cost of studs are higher in the box stores. Most lumber yards, their prices are higher than the box stores. But most box stores are only buying southern yellow pine, where most of the lumber yards are selling northwestern spruce pine fir. Mm-hmm. So first off, it's obviously further distance to bring it in. The second, it's a better lumber.
Right, it's stronger.
The only reason I am a firm believer that the only reason why we have treated lumber is so they can sell southern yellow pine, because they don't treat spruce pine fir from the Northwest or from Canada.
Right.
They only treat southern yellow pine, which is junk to begin with. Now we've put stuff in it, and then they mandate that you have to use it.
Right.
It's called creating a market.
Exactly.
So, that's just my humble opinion, as strong as it is. So another problem we run into with traditional lumber is dimensional stability. So boards can get taller, shorter, wider, thicker, cup, warp, and worse, sometimes they're not even the same height. So do you ever do that? If you're framing a floor and you got a steel beam and it's off center and I need 12 footers on one side and 14 footers on the other, the 14 footers and the 12 footers are not even the same height.
Yep.
So if they're 2x8, they should be 7.5 inches.
Right.
Nah, they'll be 7 1/4 to 7 3/8. And then when you sheet the floor and everybody's like, how come there's a hump in the floor?
It's exactly
so
what it
I
is.
literally, when I was buying lumber, if I needed 12s and 14s, I would only buy 14s, and I'd cut 2 feet off of them and throw it away.
What?
Now,
Or
you
use
say
it for
it's a
blocking.
waste of lumber.
Or use it for blocking. You could do that.
I mean, it's not like we threw it away or burned it, unless it was winter. But No, it's the truth. And it was just so that the damn things were the same height.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always a noise. Now, if you use engineered lumber, they're identical.
Yes.
There's a lot to be said for that. And you can buy structural 2x4s that are made from chips and so on.
Right.
And they've got the same string. But again, they won't warp. They won't bow. They're dimensionally stable. So there's a lot to be said for using them.
Well, and
then, of course,
they're straight. So when you build your wall, you're not worried about a crown up, crown down, and then having goofy walls. It's going to be arrow straight when you get done.
Right. Well, and most of the stuff we do down here is block, but the houses up north I was building in up north you're pretty common to have 9-foot tall, 9-foot ceilings on the first floor and 8-foot tall on the second. But I've built houses up in Burr Ridge where we had 12-foot walls on the first floor, and we were framing them with 2x6. And you're right, you had to crown them because if you didn't put the curvature of the stud the same way on every wall, you'd have this in and out thing that was, you could never get the drywall flat and so on. So again, this is why engineered lumber is not all bad. It's just hard to get people used to looking at it.
Right. Well, and the other part, the part of the engineered floor joists and stuff too, now you can span further distances without, support in the middle. So that's the other advantage to it. So we use it a lot now.
60.
So
for that reason,
I will give you a word of caution though. So there are limitations to engineered lumber. The biggest is understanding what you can and can't do, how it needs to be put together, the types and sizes of fasteners. I mean, don't just nail the end of it, like you did with a 2x8 or 2x10 or 2x12. You got to use hangers more. The other thing is drilling them, cutting them, or notching them. Pretty much, no, don't. But most of them you can drill up to a 4-inch hole in an eye joist, but you don't do it near the end. It's got, you don't do it mid-span, which seems like everybody wants to.
Right. Yeah, that's where all the ductwork goes.
Yeah. And last note, if you use engineered lumber on 24-inch centers, you can save 30% material per house.
Yes. Yes. It's amazing. And structurally be just as sound and strong.
Yep.
All right. We'll be back right after this.
This is Mighty House. Mighty House will return.
No, what do you mean? This is planned out to the second. Every show, I sweat and tears go into every show to plan every second. You're saying I'm just rambling?